I left home this morning, and which is down in Shropshire, and then headed up to Perth to see a customer there, and then left Perth and came up to Aberdeen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Driving.
driving. Yeah, yeah, indeed.
Oh, wow.
Busy time of year.
Yeah, so my name's Adam. I'm the host of this podcast that I do called the CarveCast. And Saskia asked me to basically have you on and let you explain to us all about the charity, I believe it is. I have no background on it at all.
Yeah.
Saskia was one of my very first instructors who helped me start skiing. So when
That's
she
cool.
asked me, obviously I said yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be great if you could just introduce yourself and let us know why you're here really.
Right. Well, my name is Scott Dobson. I'm one of the trustees for the Alpine 100 trust. This trust was, well, to cut a long story short, a guy called Neil McCoy, who runs the Racer Ready ski magazine, and myself talked for a long time about how can we raise money for athletes, winter sports athletes in all winter sports disciplines. And we basically got together and got Alpine 100 up. Unfortunately, Neil had some personal issues, so he left one of the chairmen, or was one of the chairs or trustees, and so we've got four trustees now who help run the trust. One is John Alley, who helps run the Chatham Ski Centre with the Alpine, with the ski shack. His
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know John. Yeah. Oh, I've lost him. He's gone for some reason. Hopefully we can get him back on. Oh, sorry, you just
disappeared for a
dropped
bit.
off there.
Wondering whether I'm in a
Yeah, so
hotel
you
in
were saying
Aberdeen, so I'm not sure whether the connection is very good or not. But anyway,
oh, that's okay. So you were saying, yeah, John at the ski shack in Chatham is part of it as well.
yeah. So there's John Alley, myself, a guy called John Mackenzie, who's a coach based up in Scotland, and Pete Ward, whose daughters used to race, who's based over in Wales. So there's four of us at this moment in time running the Alpine 100. And the whole thing behind Alpine 100 is it's a lottery at the end of the day. So anybody can join. It's a £5 a month per lottery ticket. Our sort of tagline is cheaper than a cup of coffee. So one coffee a month less doesn't harm anybody. You can have as many lottery tickets as you like, and then once a month there's a draw made, of which 50% of the funds raised that month is split between the lottery winners, and half goes into the pool for creating grants for any athlete who wants help with either equipment, training costs, travel costs. And we've so far done a lot of, we've raised a lot of money. Given a lot of grants out, and the grants are out to all levels of athletes. It's from grassroots racers to guys who are trying to race on the Europa Cup in the ski world. So we cover all areas.
Oh, well, and this is for British people only, or is this like European or global, or?
No, it's aimed at all British athletes. It's trying to help raise money for our British athletes, and the if they're, for instance, if they're going for grants for equipment, then those grants are supplied through UK accounts, UK ski accounts. So it's all trying to keep the ski industry in the UK to give something back to the ski industry UK, both from the athlete's point of view, from the coach's point of view, from anything like that, rather than sending money abroad if we can help it.
Oh wow! So how do people who are listening to this go about actually like donating or joining that? And I presume that £5 is the minimum, and you can actually do whatever you want. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, £5 is the basic starting point. You can get as many lottery tickets you like. I mean, we're even looking, if there's any companies out there who say, right, we'd like to give a grant for us to give out to athletes for their needs, then that grant basically goes straight into the grant lottery pot rather than going into the general pot. So there's two ways people can apply. They can either give us £5 for a lottery ticket, or £5 and maybe then also donate money into the grant pool as well. And it's alpine100.com is a website.
Oh wow! And when you sign up, can you choose to not be part of the lottery and just do the monthly donation?
Um, that's a good question. Um, I think to be honest with you, I don't know. That question has never come up, to be honest with you, Adam. It's a great question. Um, someone we've never yet had anyone who's turned around and said, look, we just want to give you grant money. Everyone's basically come on board to be in the lottery and try and win some money back for themselves or to use for other aspects.
Oh yeah, I was literally just thinking it would be nice to just go on and skip that part and just make a regular donation like I do to other charities.
Um, let me get back to you on that one. I'm sure we can find a way of doing it. I think on the front page, if you go in just want to put a grant in, then that could be a monthly contribution.
Oh right, okay.
That's not a
And
problem.
how do you go about selecting the athletes for this? Do they apply, or are they
Yeah.
people you're already aware of,
But
or how does that work?
when they can apply online, and they've basically got to have been in the lottery for 6 months, and they've got to be a subscriber. So we often get applications from people who don't actually subscribe to the lottery. So it's really much a case of help. They've got to be in to get something out of it. So every month there is they will send us online applications for a grant, and then we will sit down once a month, the four of us, and go through each application and see who needs it, if we can. We might have one huge grant for if one of the athletes, if someone came along and said, like, I've got to get this, and we 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 give a grant, and the grant is up to a value of up to 50% off what they're applying for. So sometimes you'll get somebody who's maybe applying for a training grant of £2,000 or £3,000. Well, we will look at that and go, right, well, what we can actually do is we can give them X pounds towards that. Or if someone's looking for some skis or some boots, they will come to us with the quotes of what the costs are for their equipment they're looking for. So they'll have gone to a shop and said, look, I need a pair of slalom skis this size. What is your best price? And the shop will say, well, if you come, buy from us, we'll give you the ski for £500. We'll then get the grant application from that athlete, and we'll look at it and say, right, okay, we can give them £200 towards that 500 because that's what we got in the fund for that month. So some months we have a lot of we can give out some nice big ones. Other months it's more small ones. But we don't want to just give £10 away at a time. We want to give a grant of that's going to be useful to them. Giving out tenors is not really very useful. It's just coffee money. Where if we can give them a grant that's towards a reasonable size grant towards their cost of their equipment or their training or whatever, then it makes it worthwhile.
Oh wow! And what was the reason for creating this in the first place? Like, how did it come about that you wanted to create something like this, and why?
Um, well, first of all, I'm an ex-racer, so I've been through the system, and I know how expensive it is to race. Neil McCoy was he's does lots of photos and he's around all the races, and we know how much money it costs to race, and we also know that there's not a lot of sponsorship available for kids or athletes in the UK. Even members of the British team are scrabbling around trying to find money. So we just felt that if we could find a way of generating money to help athletes from all levels, from grassroots up to Europa Cup or even World Cup skiers, if we can find a way of bringing money in to help them, then let's do it. And this is why we got the Alpine 100 up and running to basically try and generate some funds for athletes.
And when people start to sort of get into, ski racing, do they tend to come from a typical place? Like, when I was used to go down the Chatham dry ski slopes, they would regularly be doing events down there. I think they do them on indoor snow domes as well. But how do people usually sort of get started in that? How does that actually work for them?
Well, for me, I mean, I'm an Edinburgh boy, and I had Hill End on my doorstep,
Mm.
which is the everyone calls it the plastic mountain, and they're all scared of it. Um, and I basically learned to ski there. And at the Hill End there was the race club was there, and so as you went up, as you got better, you might have got invited by one of the coaches to try out, have a trial, see how good you were at skiing, and you would then go and do what started as a Monday afternoon for me was, you go for along for 2 hour session Monday afternoon, and then as you progressed, you then went into the Thursday evening training camp. And then from there you started racing, and then you just worked your way up from grassroots racing up to, if you're lucky, the British team or um, things like that. So people are coming from all levels, or in all different backgrounds all over the UK. And Dendix or the plastic ski slopes, like what you learned at Chatham and Hill End, they're a godsend to getting people started skiing for starters. And then once you develop your racing, you then move on from, you might become a club racer. You might race for Chatham or Aldershot or Gloucester or one of these other centres. And then, the Snow Sports England will start looking on, and they'll pick you for the England squad or the Scottish squad or whichever country you represent. So you go into the junior squad, then you go into the main squad, and then from there you head in. Hopefully, you head into the British team, and again junior, and then the Peace Racers, and then Europa Cup, and if you're successful, you get into the World Cup guys.
Oh wow! So those people are like actively sort of looking at these local race events, are they, and picking people out to join their sort of national team?
There's the process is done there. The more races you win, the lower your seed, what they call seed points go. So when you get down to better seed points, then if Snow Sports England or Snow Sports Scotland have got the right guys out in the field looking, they'll be keeping an eye out for these racers and sort of get them and then take them onto the snow and try and see how good they are on snow and start training them on snow as well. And then, once they, your ski club might go on snow first of all, and then you'll do the same sort of races on the snow. And that's when the governing bodies really start looking for their athletes and picking them up and starting to develop them from themselves.
Oh wow! And how young do people typically sort of start doing the ski racing? On both dry slopes and like the indoor snow areas.
The racers, there's all different categories, and there's under 10s, under 12s. They're more fun. Well, I hate to say it, they're a bit more fun racing, but these kids still take it really seriously. It's great to see them coming down. But really, when you start getting noticed for the main teams, you'll be sort of 16, 17, 18-year-old upwards, really, is when you start to be really, you're seen as a serious, again, is the wrong word, but serious racer. You've spent your time, you've come up through the ranks, and you're working your way in, and you're committed to do these things, and you're going out to camps more often and everything like that. So that's when they start really being picked for your national teams or your governing teams.
Yeah, and then with the older racers, like as they're sort of getting slightly older, if they get approached by, for example, like you said, Snow Sports England, and they say, we would like to see you on snow, for example, is that something that they fund, or is this something that the person would have to fund themselves?
A lot of it is self-funding. In fact, pretty much all of it is self-funding. The governing bodies might have some training grants available, but they'll be for certain people, but not everyone will be able to have that grant. I could probably have to apply like they do to Alpine 100, but a lot of it is and that's why we got Alpine 100. It's so much self-funding going on. It's crazy. I mean, when I was racing, even when I was in the team, we were still having to find money to put into the kitty to allow us to race.
Yeah, I can imagine that there's a lot of parents having to put their hands in their pockets again.
Right. Some of the pockets, I mean, I hear of some of the big academies in Europe, and they're charging 50, 60,000 pounds a year for your training.
Wow.
And there's other, yeah, I mean, there's other clubs which have gone. I feel they've got a great routine where they'll take the kids out of school for certain periods of time and they're backwards and forwards so that their training costs are a lot less and they're going out maybe 2, 3 weeks prior to one of the big races and doing the training camps, then doing the races, and they're coming home, so they're not out of the country all the time. But some of these parents are paying big bucks into their children's racing career. You know,
Yeah, wow. So once they get to that sort of age and they're of a certain level, they would typically go off and do these sort of longer term camps then on snow and or in some ski resort, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's lots of academies are out there. A lot are based there's lots based in Austria. There's some based in France. And you apply to go there, and again, there'll be some assessments where they choose which academy is best for you. And yeah, you go out there and you pay your money and you get into the training camps and off you go. And the
Oh,
nice thing
wow.
about some of these academies, they do the schooling side of things as well. So they have links with education departments in the kids' towns, so that the kids are doing their education whilst they're out there. So it's education is being done at the same time as skiing, which is great.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Uh,
so you mentioned that you've been skiing since you were young. Um, have you stayed in the ski industry ever since, or was this something extra that you did on top of a normal job, or how did that work?
so I started skiing at Hill End when I was probably about age 10 or 11. And through Hill End, I got into the Scottish Espoirs, which is a Scottish junior ski team, and the main team. I was British junior team. I, I got into the British main team, and then I injured myself, unfortunately. So I came out of that, got my knee fixed, but I decided to study sports coaching. So I went to a college in Edinburgh called Dunfermline College of Physical Education and studied sports coaching. And then I went back and was coaching kids. And I then was working for the British Army in Germany, which then I had a couple of brigadiers and a couple of generals came down to the ski centre I was based at in Bavaria, who said it would be a good idea for me to join the British Army and ski, which I actually ended up doing. I joined the Royal Green Jackets and skied for them for 4 years, skiing for the British Army ski team, the Combined Services and Inter-Services ski team, and had 4 years of pretty much skiing full time for the forces.
So how
Which,
is that? Is that with a view to be able to use skiing in like potential warfare, or is that like something else? Like they have like a boxing club or something? How does that work exactly?
the army is very very sport orientated, and way back when I was in the army, we had the Cold War, so we were trained. I was also when I wasn't racing, I was teaching the guys to ski at the centre. So we were teaching them to do cross country skiing as well as Alpine. And it was a case of, if they had to go to Norway or anything like that, then they were prepared to ski. They could do Arctic warfare. We didn't actually train them on the warfare side. I think we just trained them how to get around. But that was, that's what then way back in the 80s, there was hundreds of ski centers like that down in Bavaria because we had so many guys in Germany. And even
Wow.
today, there's still lots of, each of the legs, arms of the forces all have lots of skiers doing skiing and still actively involved in that side of things. So it's great.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I met some people recently that were doing their level one for the police force because they were, involved in something that they needed to be able to ski for. So some of that is obviously still going on to a certain degree, but I think I'd I wonder if they're still doing that in the army now. Seems like the
Oh yeah.
kind of thing that they would have got rid of.
I mean, right now there are um, corps are in Norway doing skiing. There are corps in Austria right now. The RAF will be going out shortly to Austria to do training camps because they still want the troops to be active and fit in skiing. And then of course you still got all the competition side between all the different forces. So, I think the RAF right now are the forces champions, but when I was in, it was always the army. We were really strong in those days. And so, yeah, it's still a big part of military life is all the different sports. And that's, if you get in the right regiment in the army, you will have a great military or a great sporting career whilst you're in the military. It's great. And it's,
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that. I knew they did things like boxing and various other things, but I didn't know skiing would be part of
yeah,
anything they would do.
yeah. I mean, when I was in, there was you joined a regiment, and if you're a good boxer, you got pointed into one regiment. If you're a good rugby player, it was another regiment. If you were so on, and certain, like the signals, for all signals, for instance, they had 226 was one of the big ski regiments. So all the guys who wanted to ski either cross country or Alpine were sent to the 226 or one div. And the truckies had the same thing. And when the Royal Green Jackets I was in, we moved the guys around depending if we were in Belfast or not. So one year I was in one battalion, and the next year that battalion went to Belfast, so I got transferred to the other battalion who was still in Germany and skied for that battalion. So it's how they did it, which was great.
Yeah, wow, yeah, that's so interesting. And then what did you do after that? What made you sort of move on from that? That sounds like quite a nice life.
Yeah, I had a great time. I had 4 years of superb time. I just decided that there was one or two things that came up in my life, and I thought, well, it's time to move on. And I came back to Scotland and ended up again working at Hill End as an instructor. And then my then boss moved down to Swadlincote, just outside Derby, Burton-on-Trent, to set up Swadlincote Ski Centre. And he gave me a call and said, "Come on down, look at this place." So I then moved down to Swadlincote and helped get the ski school up and running there, and then the ski racing club I set up there at this time as well, which is still going under a different name, but it's been resurrected again, which is great. Um, and I was there for a number of years, and then I basically went on the road with as a rep for one of the ski brands, and that was nearly 40 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I've
So
always
you're
still
still
been
that's what
interested
you're
in.
still doing now is a ski rep to this day.
Yeah, so I've been a hardware rep for nearly 40 years with different ski brands, but I've still been having an interest in the racing side of things and going supporting the races. And certainly for the last 18 years with the brands I've been with, which are Dina and Lang, I've been going around the dry slope circuit and promoting and talking to athletes and kids and just trying to give something back to what for me has been a great life from the skiing point of view.
Yeah, wow. So have you, when you started teaching, did you do a qualification back then, or was it just because you were able to ski that you were able to teach? And then have you continued that process through later on, or did you sort of stop there?
So qualification wise, in those days it was 3-2-1 in Basie. So I became a Basie one, which is now a level 4. I then became a Basie trainer, and I also did all my coaching qualifications as well. So I had the diploma in sports coaching, and then I had the coaching qualifications from Snow Sports Scotland, plus my Basie things, and then basically when I was so busy with the selling skis, etc., for the company I was working for, I basically couldn't spend as much time teaching as I would wanted to do. So I basically, left the teaching side of things and came and repped more. Made money from the repping.
And when you did your Basie back then, where did you do that?
I started I was either in Austria, are in Scotland. In those days, in May we'd have the big end of season Basie courses in Scotland, and we were skiing sort of second or third week of May up in Scotland doing our courses in those days, which is amazing.
Oh wow! And
Yeah.
whereabouts in Austria did you do it?
Gerlos, so just outside Innsbruck, was the main sort of place they based themselves in those days. So I was either there or in Scotland doing my courses. So yeah, when it came to the system.
Oh wow! And then as time went on, did you continue to ski for yourself outside of Scotland, or did you sort of mainly do it, in Scotland?
No, I mean I was with the brands I was working for. We were doing demos and ski tests, and the industry did ski tests. So we were skiing all over Europe. So we'd either be some years we'd be in Austria, some years we were in Italy. We just finished doing our tests in France. We're now moving back in Italy for next year. So depending which brand I was with, it depends which country I'd be skiing in. So it could be Switzerland, it could be Austria, or France. So yeah, and then holiday wise, I still go skiing with family, and that could be anywhere. It could be Italy or France. Normally, we go to. So yeah, it's been great.
What places? Where do you choose to go now? Then, if you do go away, what is your choices in France and Italy?
Choices in France are. I go to a place called La Praz, which is just down from Courchevel.
Yeah.
Um, it's lovely. It's a lovely little village, and you've got direct access up to Courchevel and all that area, and there's some great skiing there. So I tend to go there because I use it as a business. I go out and see some customers out there as well on the rental side of things. So it's business and pleasure works really well. Um,
Do you know Fred
Fred,
at the Courchevel Ski Centre?
I don't know, maybe not. No, is he French or
Yeah,
English or?
in yeah French. Yeah, in Le Praz, there's a place called Courchevel Ski Centre. And the guy there, Fred, he does all of the boot fittings for a lot of the French athletes, especially the Courchevel racers. And they also rent skis and all that kind of stuff as well. So I just wondered if you had met him before.
Is he just down the road from La Praz as you're heading up near
Yeah,
Moselle? Yeah,
yeah,
I know of him. I haven't met him,
yeah.
but
He's an incredible boot fitter, like
yeah,
absolutely incredible.
yeah. I'm very lucky
But
that I have some good contacts for boot fitting, so I'm quite lucky.
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. And then what about in Italy? Where's your Italian choice?
My choice, to be honest with you, Courmayeur is great, but I also had a lovely time in Cervinia. Cervinia was very
Yeah, I'm in
nice.
Zermatt. I'm in
Yeah,
Zermatt right now.
yeah. And that's the nice thing is you can ski over to Zermatt and you can get the benefits of both areas. So I like Cervinia was very nice. So we stayed in a nice part of Cervinia. It was really good. Um,
Yeah, I
this
love
year,
skiing down in Virginia.
yeah, I mean, and this year we're going to Champoluc for the ski test in January. So that's just down the valley a
Oh
bit.
wow.
Yeah.
Is that a ski test specifically to the brand you're working with, or is that like a generic ski test?
That is for it's this snow sports, GB Snow Sports are doing that. So that's our industry ski test. So the retailers are going to come out and the press are going to come out to test skis. And so we'll be there. We'll drive out with all the skis from the UK and I'll pick some stuff up from France. And we'll then go down to Champoluc and we'll set up the test centre there, and all the dealers will come out and have a wee play on the skis, then go home and make their final buying decisions for next season.
Oh wow, yeah. I was actually tempted to go to that, but I'm already skiing in Courchevel, funnily enough.
Yeah.
But I did a ski test last year with a ski exchange in Pila.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and that was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
trying out all the skis and whatnot. But I would quite like to do that again. But what where you've worked in the hardware industry for skiing for so long, what are some of the like biggest changes that you've seen that have made the most difference?
Um, ski wise, it's when they brought out the shorter um carving, what everyone's talking about is carving ski, the short, wider bodied carved skis that we use nowadays. Because in the old days we used to have long, 205s, 210s. Um, the new ski is I call it power steering. It's like having a car with power steering. You can just turn them and they go into corners and off they go, and they're fantastic. So that's one of the biggest changes we ever seen in the ski side of things. In boots, it's the different plastics they're using nowadays, the different materials, the different liners. Um, so there's been a few evolutions in the ski boot side of things. We went from being a clip boot to a rear entry boot lots of rear entry back in the 80s, and we're back in the clips again, and rear entry is starting to become a bit of a new feature in some ways. But boots are there's different lath, different widths, different everything. There's so many different boots out there nowadays compared to what we used to have. And same with skis. The market is awash with kit.
Yeah, for sure. Do you remember the first time you ever got on one of those new style skis coming from the older style skis? Do you remember the sort of first time that you ever did that?
Yeah, and we had when I was working a ski brand called Fisher, and we had a
Yeah.
ski called the Ice, which was basically incredible carving experience was what I stood for. And it would just made life so much easier and basically more fun. Um, but I look back at the old days, and the long skis you could carve them, but you had to work them to make a carve. Nowadays, you just rock things over, and the ski does a lot of the work for you. But that's like power steering in a car. At the end of the day, it makes life a lot easier.
So when you first got on that ski, was it did it feel like that easy? Like was there an adaptation process, or was it just like all of a sudden, oh my god, this is so easy?
Um, it was a case of, oh, this is very easy, but there was also adaptation. You're changing your stance very slightly, you open your legs up and spread your feet a bit more and things like that. So there was adaptation. You had to change your style of skiing very slightly, but it wasn't so radical that you had to go back to have lessons and go back to making snowplow turns to learn to make these skis turn. It was a case of just understanding what it's all about and just adapting your position very slightly.
And was it sort of like mind blowing, or was it not that much of an advancement? Like, did it really feel like, oh my god, this is absolutely crazy, or was it, more gradual than that?
I wasn't. I, in some ways, I wasn't totally like, wow, this is so unbelievable. It's such revolutionary. I was like, you could understand what it was about and how it worked and why it was working, but it wasn't a case of me going, doing somersaults. I'm not that sort of kind of guy anyway, but I wasn't going out and throwing somersaults and doing all that, saying, wow, this is the best thing. It did make life a lot easier for sure. It made more. It became more enjoyable. And it certainly made skiing much more easy for lots of people to handle and make the turns easier. But it's like everything; it's an evolution. And we've gone to very short skis, and then we're starting to go back up to slightly longer skis again. So there's 186s and 190s out there now, but the most people are skiing is sort of the 160 to the 180 sort of length for most people, and there's a ski that'll do it all for you in those ski ranges.
Yeah. And what about the boa stuff recently? Is that sort of added interest in terms of sales and enthusiasm, or is it less than people sort of think it is?
I mean, for me, it's a closure system. It's just a wire closing the boot around your foot. It's giving it for some people, it's giving a more even distribution. So where people are shouting and bawling, it's a performance enhancer. Nah, I don't think so. It's just more of a closure system. And it works, so again an evolution because again when 40 years ago there was rear entry boots made up with wires that closed the shell around your foot. So they've just evolving or going back to things that have been around for a while before. And it's just making some people say it's easier to close the boot down. For me, I'm still a clip man. I like to be able to clip the boots up and unclip them when I want to. And I like slightly different pressure over my foot than what I can get from a boa. But there's some brands, some people are buying into the boa system, and others are quite happy to just continue with what they've got if that boot fits and works better for them than a boa does, because boa is an even pressure closure system, which is great. You know, It's been around a long time. It's been on cycling shoes. It's been on snowboard boots. It's on helmets and all sorts. So it's nothing. It's not new as such, but it's a new way of ski boots being closed.
Yeah, I just wondered more from like a commercial aspect whether it's actually sort of increased, enthusiasm and sales just because there is something new that people might be interested in.
Um, I, I think it's certainly people are asking about it. I was in a shop earlier today, and they were saying that there's still people coming in saying, "Oh, no, I still want my clip boots," and etc. So there is a percentage of people who are waiting or have waited for a BOA to come onto their ski boots so they could buy it. But then there's the people out there quite happy just to use the traditional way of closing boots. But yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah.
there's 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 pros and cons for everything in this world, and Bo is there for a reason. It's a great marketing thing, and it's certainly made a lot of people look at boots again and think, actually, it's about time I did change my boots. So let's try this BOA system and see if it's going to help me give me the comfort I want.
Yeah, because my local ski shop in Sevenoaks, they've said that since COVID, things have not been quite the same from a sort of commercial perspective. And obviously, you're in a good position to kind of see that. Is the sort of state of the UK, commercial side of skiing in a good position at the moment?
I think it is. I mean, when post COVID, there was from the brands I work for, we launched new products and everything else. So we had a huge increase in sales because we brought new products out, and it created a lot of interest in this. And then like everything had sort of tailed off a bit. But I think our biggest thing is if the press keep telling everyone, "Oh, there's no snow," that kills the winter sports business. Where there is snow, there's plenty of snow in different places. You just got to go looking for it. They're not
Mm.
talking about just now that the snow is falling by the bucket load just now in the Alps. There's buckets and buckets and bucket loads of snow, but do you read about that in the press? No, you don't. You're hearing other things which are, not quite so interesting. But I think at this moment in time, speaking to dealers around the country, they're fairly positive. And if the snow comes and people start talking about how good the snow is and saying, yeah, it's really good, then we're going to have a good winter for sure.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean that's what I've been trying to do on the social media is try and advertise how good it is. Basically, like right now in Zermatt, it's been snowing here for days. We were skiing in like powder yesterday. It's been the most amazing conditions today, all the way down into Trevinia, and we're not even in December yet, and we're skiing all the way down into Trevinia,
Yeah.
17 kilometres of piste, all the way from the top of the Matterhorn down there. I skied in Saasfee the other day. They've got a lot open.
Yeah.
There is loads of skiing to be had. And in fact, last year at the end of the season, we had that huge downpour in April, and I was in Val d'Isere, and they had about a metre of snow in the actual high street overnight.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is crazy amounts of snow coming. But yeah, you do have to be careful about how you're selecting your place and what time of year you're going there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was in La Prade at Courchevel when that snowfall came, and on the Wednesday it rained and we got kind of damp, and Thursday morning it dumped it, and but because of the heaviness of the snow, there was causing electrical problems, etc., and trees coming down. But the Friday, when we went out on the Friday, my goodness, it was just phenomenal. It was just brilliant skiing, and a lot of the times the year before when I was out at about the same time of year, the pisteurs were saying it was the best snow they'd had all year in April. So the seasons are changing. Um, so yeah, we just got to work with what we have. But at the end of the day, there's resorts high enough where people can go and ski without any real problems, and providing they plan their trips and plan their routes, etc. They're going to get skiing. It's going to be grand.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%. Oh, well, that's really interesting. Um, just go over just one more time how people would go about actually getting involved with the lottery scheme or just donating or finding out more information. Where would they go to find that information out?
Alpine100.com. Alpine100.com is our website. And you go in there and
Okay.
you can basically read all the information there, how to apply for grants, how to apply for or get your lottery ticket, etc. and it shows you the guys who are, well, I think my mugshot's on there, so you can see who I am and what my background is. So it's all about, we're there to, and social media, people will contact me on social media and ask questions as well. So, the whole thing is it's all visible on the Alpine 100 site, and how to apply for a ticket. As I said, it's only a cup of coffee, so don't just buy one ticket, buy a couple, if you can, and if you're in a position you want to just donate a grant to the lottery for the grant side of things, then there's a bit of availability there to do that as well, which is great.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm gonna literally go off and have a look as soon as we get off of this call because I literally didn't know anything about it at all. Saskia just messaged me and said,
Yeah.
there's a charity. Would you mind speaking to someone about it? But yeah, that's actually super interesting. It's good to find
Yeah.
out these things as well because there's probably other things like this that are going on that no one's aware of. So it's nice to be able to try and sort of tell other people about it and hopefully get more support for the British athletes.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely what we want to do with Alpine 100. Is we want to make it more visible and it's affordable for you as a buying into it. If they want a fiver, it's not a great deal of money. Or if you've got some business associates who think, actually, I'd like to do a bigger donation, purely for the training grants to help. I say we've got kids from grassroots levels who are 10 or 11 who are needing some skis or something like that, up to guys who are working or racing in the British team who are needing a bit of finance. We've gone from one extreme to the other, and we're open to looking at every grant that comes in. We look at and study, and we have a discussion about it and see who's how we can help the athlete. Up to now, we're really only been targeted by alpine skiers, but the whole point of Alpine 100 is alpine sport. So whether you're a cross country skier or a free rider, freestyle, or a tobogganist, we want to open it up to everybody. But the more that we can get the people to the public to actually donate and join Alpine 100, the better, because the more money we get in, the more we can give out.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. So the long and short of it is, if you want to become part of the lottery, you can basically buy tickets for £5 each per month,
Yeah.
and then every single month there's a draw, and 50% of the money raised goes to the ticket winner, or is it broken down?
No, it's four. It goes to four ticket winners. Fifty
Right,
percent.
for
50%. This 50% of 50% goes to number one. 25% goes to number two, and 12% go to three and four. I think it is. So yeah. So there's
oh right.
four. There tend to be four winners, and then the remaining 50% goes into the grant lottery funding. So we then sit down once a month and look at all the grants and say, well, actually, what we'd like to do is roll the money. We've rolled the money over one month into the second one, but to make a bigger impact for some of the athletes, so we could give them a bigger grant. So we don't necessarily give out grants every month because sometimes they're just too small, the amount of money we got left over. But we'd rather put give a good size of grant to the athletes so that it's worthwhile for them. So, if a kid's coming along for, say, a pair of ski boots, and it's going to cost them 400 quid for that pair of ski boots, and we can give them up to £200, we've only got 50 quid to give them. Well, it's almost better to roll it over to the next month and give them £100 or £150 to really make it good for them to apply for that grant.
And then with the athletes, they need to be a lottery member for a minimum of 6 months, and then they can apply to receive a grant.
Yeah, yeah. So they've got to be in it to win it. We've had a few people who've applied for grants, and one of the questions is, are you a lottery supporter? And if they say no, then it's like, so we reply to them, look, you got to be a supporter in 6 months. It's not just first month in and hopefully, a fiver is going to get you 100 quid. No, you got to contribute a bit of money to help us build the funds up, and that way they can get a grant afterwards, or there's a possibility
Yeah,
of getting
so
a grant.
yeah, so if you've got children, or obviously if you're someone who's involved in that yourself, or a colleague, or whatever it may be, then best thing to do is get signed up, and then if that opportunity or if that requirement comes around, then you've got a potential avenue for support.
Yeah. I mean, I contribute every month, but I've got no dependents who are racing anymore. But I just, it's, it's my passion. And because of, the fact is that, the way I work my company as well is that I actually offer a race program to athletes where they actually get their kit at reduced prices. So they're not paying full RRP, they're getting them at a better price. And so therefore I reduce the cost of the kit when I sell it to my dealers so that, I'm doing a lot of sponsorship myself. Plus I'm giving a fiver, or at least a fiver a month into Alpine 100 to make it work as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then every month, what do people get an email to say if they were selected, or is it like a live draw, or how does that work?
It's an automatic live draw, and the pictures or the winners' names go up on our Instagram page, and they will also get uh, informed that they're winners, because sometimes we need their bank details to go on the money. But then the same happens with the athletes when they grants are awarded. They get emailed to say, look, you've got your grant being awarded to you. You get for instance, if they're buying kit, they say, right, this is how much you've been awarded. You go to your dealer who you've got the quote from, and they will invoice the Alpine 100 for the grant money. So we pay the money direct to the dealer rather than giving it to the athlete. So we know it's been spent right as it's been applied for, which is important.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's amazing. Yeah, thank you very much for your time, Scott. I really appreciate it. That's actually really interesting. I had no idea what we were going to talk about, to be honest, but actually it's really quite interesting, especially where you've been doing this for so long. It's you must have
Yeah.
a lot of information to share.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's I go into shops now and do staff training, and I've been with Dynastar and Lang for 18 years already, and I'm
Wow.
talking to kids on the shop floor who are just out of school, and you're thinking, It's it's and it's when I go to the race as well. There's all these young kids, and it's building that relationship up with the kids on the slopes, etc. So they're becoming, you know, hopefully keen. We have a tagline, "True Blue Team," which is because Dina Star and Lang are blue. And we try and get them to come and get them on the kit and keep them on the kit, and it's that for me, it's that personal touch as well because they know who I am. They can come and talk to me. And when I'm at races, I've got my gazebo up. I've got some demo skis there. I've got the workbench there for preparing skis. And now I've got parents who come and say, "Oh, can you help me prepare these skis for little Tommy?" So yeah, bring them over. Let's have a look at them. And it doesn't have to be because I work for Dynastar. It doesn't have to be a Dynastar skis because the product I'm using is Toco, which is the ski preparation equipment. So, I can use Toco in any brand of skis, but I do prefer to work on Dynastars.
Yeah, well, when I used to go to Chatham, I haven't been there for a while, but John has always been quite Dina Star heavy, hasn't he? So I understand why now.
Yeah, yeah. It's the fact that with the race program that I run, it makes it viable and profitable for the dealers to run with these brands. And the fact is that if there's a races on, then likely is I'll be in the background with my tent and talking about it and etc. So yeah, it's the kids know me, which is great, and the parents know me and the coaches, so they can all come and talk to me and say, "What's the best kit for little Tommy?" And I'll say, "Well, let's have a look at them." Yeah, well, this. I'd recommend this ski or this ski, and off they go. So yeah, it's that personal touch.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Yeah, no, I'm really pleased that I found out about that. That's really quite interesting, and yeah, I'll be going on that website in a minute. But yeah, thanks again for your time. Hugely appreciate it. I have Lang boots, so yeah, I love them. My RS 140s, I think they are. But yeah, I love my Lang boots.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but
Well,
yeah, no, thank you very much for your time. Anyway, I will go ahead and get this uploaded, and hopefully people will enjoy it as much as I did.
if you need any more, if you want to interview me again on a different subject, ski wise, just drop me a line and we'll see what we can do for you.
I've got one more question actually. When is the next time you're going skiing on snow?
I will be skiing. First time on snow will be actually Champaloop when I'm out in January. At this moment in time,
Oh
I've got
wow, okay.
yeah. So that's my
And how
first.
long are you out there for? A week?
I'll be there 10 days. I'll be out before. I'll go out for a few days. I've got to pick up stuff from France and then go to Champaloop and we'll ski the weekend before the test starts. And then I'll probably go to Morzine with see some guys in Morzine and have a wee ski around there before I come home.
And do you still get that sort of major buzz and excitement when you know you're about to go onto the snow, even after, working in the industry for all that time?
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
only found
it's
skiing 2 years ago, so I'm very new, but I'm addicted.
well, when I was at Swaddling Court, I had a couple, probably late, yeah, 50-year-old, and I had them as private lessons, and we were, they would come every week, and I said to them, I said, oh, you're into very Moorish sport, and they said, what do you mean, Scott? I said, well, once you get on the snow, you'll want to do more and more. And they went, oh, okay, fine. And I came in one evening from a lesson, and they were at the bottom of the stairs, and they said, oh, you've just been teaching our daughters to ski. Moorish, we love it, and that was them. And so it's a great. I mean, I've been very lucky that I've been able to make a living from skiing since I left school. There's not many sports that allow you to do that, and it's certainly, for me, I've been very, very. I love it still. And I'm at the age where everyone said, "When are you going to retire, Scott?" I said, "Well, when I get fed up with it."
Yeah, no, that's so interesting. My first ever ski trip on the snow was 2 years ago at New Year's. So I've not even been skiing for 2 years yet, but I have done well over 200 days in that time. So I have got very much addicted. But I started when we knew we were going to book a ski trip. I started skiing at Chatham. We went once a week on like a Wednesday or a Thursday night, and there was a group of about 5 or 6 of us. And it was sort of October time, just over 2 years ago. And Saskia always came and helped us, even though she wasn't, getting paid to teach us. John exactly the same as well. So they were hugely influential in sort of kicking off our ski addiction, because my wife does it, my daughter does it, like my friends now do it. My sister and her son are coming with us in January. My mum and dad quite often come along. They don't ski, but they come along for the trip. So the way that started out has had quite a huge influence on our my whole circle and our lives. And actually, I often say that I really miss those rainy nights on the dry ski slope when we were absolutely terrible at skiing. Scrapping to just get that little bit better every week. I kind of miss that sometimes. I wouldn't go back to it, but I do miss it.
Yeah. I mean, without Dendix, without the plastic slopes, a lot of people would not be skiing today, I can tell you.
Yeah, I wish there was more snow domes. I just wish there was a lot more of them. That would be good.
There might be one at Merthyr Tydfil in the near future. That's coming.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we quite often go to Landgraf because
Yeah,
we're near the Eurotunnel, so
yeah,
it's only 3 hours from Calais, and it's such a great place,
yeah.
and a nice area as well. Actually, so it's quite a nice little trip. I've done podcasts on it before, telling people it's a cool place to go. Um, so yeah, that's another one as well. But yeah, thank you so much for your time, Scott. I really appreciate it. It was lovely to meet you,
Sure. Thank
and
you
I
too.
will I'll share the message about Alpine 100 because that's actually really quite interesting. And I'm sure there's loads of people that want to find a way to contribute to things like that, but just don't even know how or that it's even possible. So I will try to get that message out for you.
I appreciate that a lot. That'd be great if we could. It's what we can give back to the skiers. At the end of the day, it's just all that matters.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think it's amazing. But yeah, thank you very much. Have a good trip to, where was it? Aberdeen.
I'm in Aberdeen right now. Yep, I'm just about to go and find some food now.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, have a good evening. Enjoy your meal, and I will speak to you sometime in the future.
Indeed, pleasure. Thank you, Adam, very much for your help.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate
Okay,
it. Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.
take care.
Bye.
Bye.